Mr. Gheorghiu, here you meet again with
Ljubojević, yes.
Ljubojević.
Well, we
Also-
played a lot of games. I mean, he won also very interesting games against me. Almost in every game that we won, somebody won, but it was almost always in a tactical way, you know. Somebody has very good attacking chances and won a very nice game, and it happened the same on the other side, you know. The other one won against, you know, he won with
always
me,
with
me
many
with him, and
tactics.
so on.
Many
But
tactics.
almost in every game we had some tactical clashes, you know, like this, you know. E4.
Nice.
Okay, in this one we play Sicilian, of course. Takes. Knight f6, knight c3, a6. Well, this is a knight-dodge position with the move d6 and a6. But here black can choose some other continuation, and instead of playing e6 and we have the knight-dodge position, we can play knight c6, and we had some Richter-Rauser position. Again, we can choose another possibility. Yeah, queen d2, d6, castle, bishop d7. This is the Averbach variation for black, you know, bishop d7, f4, and now I played again the move b5. Why I said again? Because we played it already in Petropolis in Brazil, in the Brazilian Interzonal in 1973. And this is the first time that we had this position. And in our game from Brazil, Ljubojević played the Tal's idea to give a piece on b5.
So he sacrificed.
He sacrificed the piece. It was considered very good for white. It was Tal analysis, and it happened in many games that white won with 3 pawns against the piece, you know, many moves afterwards in middle game and in end game, and finally all the games were in white's favor. Well, I analyzed at home and I found the possibility to improve the black's game, and I played it against Ljubojević and I won a very nice game in Petropolis. And here, well, that is something else. Bishop takes b5. Here he played the normal continuation. Bishop takes f6. It is considered until now the best way to play for white, you know. Yeah. Now, if you play, for instance, instead of bishop f6, queen takes f6 instead of playing with g,
yes,
then you have very big problems with black. Probably you are lost afterwards. After queen takes f6, or knight takes b5 immediately, or e5 and knight takes b5, and you have very, very strong position with
against the king.
Against the king, yes. Probably lost. So now this is good, of course. G takes f6, takes in c6, takes with bishop, and now queen e3. In that moment, when we played the game, that was in Olympic, the Olympiad from, Interzonal tournament, pardon. Interzonal tournament from 1976 in Manila. Queen e3 was considered the best move, theoretical best move. And now we have to be very, very careful with black, because if you play a move like b4, you are probably already lost. After b4, knight d5, you have probably a lost position for black, yeah, already. Queen e7, this is the strongest move, and it was my continuation. I found this move. You know, I played some other games before.
So before what?
The idea is to play queen e7. Now knight d5 is not more possible, and now the threat from black is to move the queen from e7 to a7 and have the big diagonal, or trade queens, and then black has no problems at all, you know. Queen e7. Okay, now.
But what was before e7? What was the risk?
No, the idea from white was to, you know, he tries to come again with the knight d5 move, you know. If, for instance, we play something else, rook c8 or b4 or something like this, knight d5 has a very strong possibility for white, almost winning, you know. So you have to be very careful.
So now
Queen
it's not
E7.
possible to come
No,
because
now it's not possible, and black has time to move again the queen to A7 and have the possibility later on, if necessary, to castle long side, and then the king goes away from the danger zone, you know. Yeah. Bishop D3, queen A7. Now, of course, he doesn't trade queens. Of course, he plays queen H3. Now you have time to improve a little bit the position, and queen C5. This is a normal position, very, very unclear, let's say. Very unclear. F5, yes, E5, knight G3. It seems that black has problems here. Yeah. The idea is to play very quickly knight H5 and queen H4. And what can you do?
with a
Yeah,
with a
that attacking immediately the pawn from F6, and then you have big problems, you know. Of course, he plays knight H5. No? Yeah, and now we have this idea, which is very nice idea, which it gives a good game for black, you know. First, knight, bishop H5, H6 check, king B1, and bishop G5.
to block the queen.
Now you win a tempo, and finally you can come later on with the king to E7, and you have time to block the white's initiative on the king side, you know. And the bishop will come later on to E3 and D4. This is the idea. We'll see later on. Yeah.
In order to attack also.
Yes. Queen F3. It was another possibility, instead of queen F3, to play queen G4. The Grandmaster Torre played against me later on, a few rounds later, queen G4. But black could show that black had enough possibilities to have a good game, even in our game. I didn't win the game without the Torre, but it was a draw, very, very difficult draw for white after a long game, and where I was better all the time, you know. So it was a very good idea anyway. Well, after queen F3, now we have time. We finally could, you know, defend the pawn from F6, even without castling. And H4, what else? No, H4, bishop E3. But it was, you see, it's move by move, you know. Every position is by one move, for white and for black, you know. Who is trying to win and why, and how can you block it, you know. So if you can move the bishop to D4 without losing something, then black is all right, you know. Yeah. Okay. Bishop D4, queen A2.
Yeah, so the bishop is...
The position is balanced. It's not clear who is better, but black did everything right until now. You see? Okay. D5. He took in D5, of course. No? And bishop E4. Bishop C4, of course. This is a very risky move, you know. That shows that Ljubojević is playing for a win also, you know, even if the position is very complicated, but he's trying to do immediately G5. It seems that it's very good for white, of course, because G5, you know, it seems is a very, very nasty threat, you know, against F6 pawn. But the only possibility here is to try to play for an even game instead of queen D2, to try this modest move, bishop D3. Because after bishop D3, bishop D5, bishop E4, he tries to have a draw, you know,
yes,
white.
To repeat the moves.
Yeah, but if you don't want draw, then you have to play rook C8, and we have another game. We can trade queens, and we come back with the knight, and if somehow we can put the knight in E4, white has a strong position, you know. But he couldn't play a quiet game. He wanted to complicate again, you know. He's trying to play G5, and black takes the initiative right now, from this moment, you know. Rook D8, G5. Okay, we have this position. He took, and now comes the big surprise, rook D6. We give the pawn from F6, But if you take to f6, then white has nothing, and the king moves to d7, and black is clearly better, You can't take with the knight on f6 because you lose the rook in a3. If you take with the pawn on f6, then simply king to d7, and black is clearly better. Black is playing for win. You have nothing. Pawn up, but the initiative is dead for white. You can't do it. So g6, he's trying the only move, g6. But we ignore this idea. And now we have all our pieces against the white position. And because of the weakness of the big diagonal, you see the black diagonal, is the win is forced for black. And now we have very, very strong win, decisive. Now, if you take, for instance, in b5, no, if you take in e4, we play immediately bishop c3 or bishop e5, and we win. You see, you lose something immediately. You see, and if you take in b5, we play or bishop c3 or bishop e5, and you lose at least a rook. Queen e1, and now again bishop e5. Now position is lost. If you take now with the queen in e4, after queen c3 is mate. This is the idea, the big diagonal.
Yeah.
Now he resigned.
He resigned here because he lost a piece, or
he lost a piece, and we have the same idea. Now if you take in d3, for instance, only with the pawn, no?
Yes.
Yeah. After queen d4 is mate again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the game was really one of the most interesting games. Probably beauty prize also in this interzonal tournament.
Yeah, it was
Very
how many?
beautiful
34 moves.
Yes.
Very good, Mr.
Yeah, very, very interesting idea, and a very tactical game, And afterwards, in theory, the game was considered to be my idea. It was named so the Gheorghiu variation. This
The move, the e7 move.
No. The whole variation for black. Yeah. Well, it was better, you see. Now it's impossible because everything is named after the computers, not by players. You see this
computer variation.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.